YouTube! Hope you're all having a great day. Today I'm starting off this video with excitement, a smile on my face, because I will be going deep into your personal issues. What do I mean by that? I mean relationships, and how you can't find the partner that you envision, or just people aren't interested in you and you are very lonely. Now, side note, this is not a relationship channel. I know. I'm not going to be one of those gurus or experts that give you tips and tricks, how to catch more chicks or how to catch more boys. But I did still feel the need to share my perspective on why do we actually face these relationship challenges and what to do about it. So I wanted to share you my story and then my perspective from the spiritual realm, what you can do to change your situation. So my story with relationships is not that dramatic, pretty average. Back when I was in, let's say, 9th, 10th grade, I had some people interested in me, but it wasn't reciprocal. And I wasn't really, to be honest, looking for relationships in the first place. And then only when I was in 11th and 12th grade did the desire for serious relationships start flashing, and I was kind of looking for potential partners. But I think, as everybody knows, that the people that I did attract or that found me interesting were not the actual partners that I envisioned I would at least start a relationship with, even at that young age. So that kind of continued until university, and then a short while back, I was thrown back into the relationship sphere, and I had one, short kind of relationship, which ended. But that kind of brought me back a lot of stuff that I had kind of put away and put aside and forgotten about. So this relationship that I had brought back a lot of childhood trauma. So from the get-go, I pretty much made the link between, okay, relationships has something to do with your childhood trauma. I think we all know, and I think we have all heard, that if you have unresolved childhood trauma, it's gonna come up in your relationship, whether you like it or not. So it's the example, of the girl who only gets bad boys and can't seem to find a serious relationship with a mature and well polished man. And I understood that, you have to talk about your childhood trauma. You can't be afraid of it. All of this I explained in my previous video. It directly affects your success in relationships. Well, that's pretty much how much I thought of it until recently, which is yesterday. So you're having this live. Yesterday, I had a bit of an insight. And that insight was that it is much more deeper than you actually think. And I'm just going to put it out there, it's pretty hard to accept. Because it means that, you really have to do some work on yourself. That's what I'm going to say. So what was the insight that I got? The insight that I got is that this relationship that ended very abruptly and it was very short, I realized that it wasn't somebody who I'd actually want a serious relationship with. Then, of course, my thought was, well, why did I then have this? Like, what's the point of this? Why couldn't I have a better suited man for me in some sense? I then thought to myself and said, okay, well, I'm the spiritual type of person. I communicate with my souls. Maybe it has something to do with my souls and not just childhood trauma. Lo and behold, that's actually it. So the idea, or the basic, let's say, representation that I came up with, I think is necessary for you to understand what I will be saying afterwards. So what I want you to now imagine, or I'll have it here, is that you should look at your life, at least how much you can influence, in this manner. So in the middle, you have your souls. That is the 5D. That's the 5D dimensional realm. That, in some sense, you have an influence over. So that you can communicate with. I'm not going to go into detail. How much control do you have? Do you really have control? Those are, semantics, and that's going to be a very, very long discussion. In the middle, those are your souls. That's where you actually have the influence. Around, that's 3D. That is your physical reality. That's the world. That is the camera right now that I see. That is the environment right now that I see. That is the sun. It's all of that. That is around. Now, what can you influence? I'll tell you this. You can influence that inner circle. You can influence that 5D dimension in some sense. But in the 3D, in that other circle, you cannot influence. Meaning, you can't change matter with matter. That's what I'm trying to say. And so imagine if you had to very much simplify this, and for the sake of this exercise, think of the inner circle, so your souls, as something that you can influence. Well, then think of your 3D world as something you cannot influence. You have no influence whatsoever. Stuff is going to happen, and you'll say, what? How come? So why do I want you to think of your life in these terms? Well, because if you think about actually changing what you are manifesting in your current life, you don't want to stay in that area where, as I said, you have no influence, which is your physical reality, which is childhood trauma. You can't influence your childhood trauma. It happened. It's in the past. There's nothing you can do about it. What you can do is you can, in some ways, influence from the 5D, from the soul's perspective. This is pretty much how my thought process went. Okay, so my issues or challenges with relationships. It is childhood trauma, but there's probably more to that. And now if you think and you look at it from a soul's perspective, then you say, okay, souls, why am I manifesting this? Why is this happening? Why can I not find that partner or, those relationships that are actually fulfilling and that I resonate with? Well, this is pretty much the answers that I got. So it's going to be a bit out there. The answers that I got was that it's based on a rule or a belief that I have. This belief, I believe, is present in all of us in some shape or form. And this rule is the following. The more you are afraid of yourself, the worse your possibility or your manifestation of long-lasting, resonating relationships will actually happen. So the more afraid you are, the less confident you feel, the more unease and uncomfortableness you have with your own life right now directly correlates to your possibilities with actual serious relationships. And so this is mind-blowing for me, because then I think to myself, okay, well, why am I afraid? And my intuitive response to that is, well, why would I be afraid of my own life? Because I'm not doing what my life is supposed to be. And intuitively, or my souls, they are communicating to me, hey, you're not aligned with your life's purpose. You're not aligned with your life's path. That's why it feels uncomfortable. That's why you feel always anxious. You always feel, just jittery, frustrated, angry, and that's why you're in this situation. And when I realized that, I was like, wait a minute. So the alignment to your soul's purpose actually influences your success in relationships. Mind blowing. Now, yes, I will be humble, and you're not going to be always aligned with your soul's purpose. Let's just put it out there. I'm not going to be. I'm just like you. We're imperfect human beings. We will steer off the path. You'll have shitty relationships. You'll have good ones. The whole thing. But I think that looking from this kind of perspective puts you in a position where you can actually start changing something more fundamental so that you can get those great and fulfilling relationships. So here's the practical aspect of this video in some sense. What do you do about this? How can you get yourself out of this cycle of bad relationships or loneliness, or just not attracting the people that you would want to or desire to attract? My answer? Listen to your souls. Your soul's guidance is pretty much gonna be that compass for the relationship realm. If you think that you can listen to gurus on YouTube and just digest and just eat all of their information and learn it by heart and master the techniques, you can. Very maybe interesting and inspiring, but that's not going to beat listening and communicating with your souls. So communicating with your souls is a pretty big package in itself. And as I stated in my previous video, the first step towards doing this is to take some time out of your day, each day, and ask yourself the question: if I had abundance, if time and money were unlimited, what would I be doing right now? And the point being is that A, you must believe that state of abundance, so maybe meditation is necessary for that, and B, you should just open your mind to any kind of thought that comes. We're not trying to get a rational or a logical explanation. We are trying to get your soul's, your intuitive wisdom to actually, speak. So other than the exercise that I just shared, I did want to share some thought-provoking perspectives on relationships and perhaps maybe help you find more success in this realm. So the first thought-provoking idea that I have is that you can't control how your other partner will manifest in your life. Meaning that, you have your check boxes, you have your conditions, what this other partner has to meet for them to actually qualify. Now, I'm not saying go for immoral relationships. I'm not talking about, your morals, your actual values. I'm not talking about that. That is more you-based. What I'm talking about is expectations of the other person. For example, I had a conversation with a woman and she was telling me that, she had some kind of expectations. Like, he must be, he must have a secure job. He must be, very mature. He must dress nicely and all of that. And at the end of the day, I thought to myself, well, those are a bit of some boxes that you have put up, And she was struggling with relationships as well. I realized I had a light bulb moment where I figured, hey, if I'm going to stick to these boxes, I'll be lonely for the rest of my life. So I'm not talking about completely, putting aside your values, your morals. I'm more talking about the superficial aspect. We all have them. and maybe, you know, we grow up with them and we say, okay, this is going to be my perfect person, but at the end of the day, I just had to let that go. So I thought I would share that with you. So another insight that I wanted to share was that you shouldn't really worry about how to present yourself to other people, to your potential partners. Because, you know, kind of like putting up a face or putting up a mask that's not really you is not going to last very long. And I've had that happen to me where, you know, people just kind of act somebody else, and, you know, you can feel that, and it kind of comes off as not being genuine, and to be honest, you're not that very much interested in the other person at the end. Because if they can't be confident in their own skin, then how long is that relationship actually going to manifest? So, and I wanted to share an insight from my brother who pointed it out correctly, is that the best way you can get the other partner, whether you are a boy or a girl, is to be confident in what you do, in what you love. Don't shy away, and actually have no problem with talking about the stuff that you're mostly interested in. And I think that many people, they kind of put up a facade, as I was mentioning before, that they're interested in this topic or this topic because, you know, it's cool, or it's very manly, or for girls, you know, it's very sexually inviting, whatnot. But at the end of the day, you know, we are energetic people. We do see behind the facade. Now, if you're into facade partners, if you're into fakeness in your relationship, then yeah, you know, those partners are perfect for you. You know, I mean, I guess that's what you signed up for, and you don't really have a problem. But if you're more genuine and you want to actually find more success in relationships, then you should probably stop, you know, putting up a facade yourself, and then expect, you know, the other person to also do the same. So to end this video, I wanted to share my last thought, which is actually not mine, it's from my parents. And the idea is that relationships are actually energy exchanges. And when we talk about energies, we usually mean the unknown, the intuitive, the souls, the spiritual aspect of relationships. And that the rational and logical thinking actually has very little to do with relationships in general. And I just wanted to add my own thought to this, is that whenever you are in a relationship, and especially if you find yourself in an unfulfilling one, I want you to ask yourself, okay, with everything that I know now, why is my soul manifesting this relationship? And then use, you know, the practical advice that I talked about in the beginning of this video to kind of go in a bit deeper. So I think I'm going to end this video here. I pretty much used up the sun, and it's behind clouds, and also I've used up my thoughts. I hope you resonated with some aspects of this video. I hope that you can use something in your actual life and, you know, continue with your path towards following your soul's purpose. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Bye. See you in the next video.